Hey parents, this is Mr. S at Sanidas Academy. I know a lot of you have been wondering exactly how all this works with online tutoring, and I wanted to show you a little bit about how it works. So in front of me I have 5 of the students that I had today. Here you see me working with one of our current 6th graders. The first portion of the session is all about what he is currently learning in school. Since he's learning about slope, we go through slope, y-intercept, slope-intercept form, as well as graphing linear equations, and make sure that any of the upcoming topics that he's going to be learning in school are covered. This way, when he finally goes through them with his teacher, he's already learned them once, and he can retain them more easily. The second part of the session is completely enrichment-based, so we go into some Algebra 1 topics. We learn about quadratic equations with leading coefficients, how to properly factor them, and solve for x. If he has any questions, they are answered, and tons of examples are given because this is a new topic, and he is reaching to grades above his level. Finally, we go over the 3 most important qualities: his creativity, productivity, and organization, and I'll give him some tips on how to be a more creative, productive, and organized person. After that, I'll also make some notes of any of the issues that we had, whether they were foundational or whether it was something new that we were learning, and I'll make sure to throw them on a retention curve so that in the upcoming weeks, we repeat them and review them until we completely memorize and understand them forever. On the right over here, I have 2 3rd grade students that had converting mixed numbers into improper fractions and converting improper fractions into mixed numbers, as well as adding and subtracting when they convert them. In the middle over here, I have Algebra 1 quadratics with leading coefficients. Over here, we have 6th grader who is working on PEMDAS as well as integers. And on the left over here, we have the 9th grader who is working on sequences in Algebra 1 moving into Algebra 2. So we have 5 students in front of us. Each one had completely different work, all individualized. What we do is now I'm going to be sifting all these into their proper files. I have a file for every single student. Every single student is going to then get an email that shows the type of homework they should be doing until the next time we have a session. After that, the student begins doing that work, and what I continue to do over here, as well as what all of our teachers continue to do over here, is to individualize the next lesson plan. We talk about acceleration. How quickly is the child moving forward? How voracious of a learner are they? Are they pulling? Do they want more information? How are they doing in this topic? And depending on the acceleration that we see, we want to make sure that we are prepared to either move through topics quickly or skip topics that are going to be very easy for them to learn later on, as long as we're on the same vector. Let's say we're dealing with fractions and we see that somebody is really pulling, a child is really understanding, we'll move them into 4th and 5th grade fractions even though they're in 3rd grade, and then we'll teach them about other 3rd grade material in the future after we've gone through this entire 5-6 year process of understanding fractions if they continue to pull. So a 3rd grader that is pulling might move up to 6th grade for fractions and might come back so that they can continue to work on 3rd grade material. So the opposite would happen if a student, let's say like an Algebra 1 student, is not showing the same type of acceleration. So if we see that the student is not really digesting and understanding a topic over here, like I said before, we were dealing with leading coefficients. If they're not digesting this properly, then maybe we have to continue working on this topic. We can't move forward the way that normal school would. We would continue working on this topic until they completely understand. For them to completely understand, we have to look into their file to see what type of a learner they are, if they're visual, if they need applied mathematics more than theoretical mathematics, both of which should be taught. But some students learn with applied mathematics because they can visualize something happening. And then we're going to craft the next lesson plan around that to make sure that the student doesn't feel overwhelmed and to make sure that we are ready with a proper foundation so that when they finally begin to accelerate and begin to pull and we start expecting them to move forward quicker, we have a proper foundation so that we can build upon that. Other than that, if it comes to the logistics of how things work, we have video cameras that are up here, and then we also face them so that they are facing the piece of paper. We also send over files so that certain students are looking at files while we're working on things together. There is audio, there is visual. What else do you need? If it comes to a younger student, yes, it is a little bit more difficult, but we highly suggest that parents also help with anything that needs other senses involved. Okay, so if anybody has any more questions, please send us an email at info@sanidasacademy.com. We are pretty on top of everything right now, although the emails were crazy on Monday. if you can, also make sure to ask if you have any other students that you want your child to be in one-on-one, in one-on-two, or one-on-three sessions with. We don't only offer one-on-ones. If you need one-on-twos or one-on-threes, you can always call us, and that is a reduced price, so you can have a small classroom at home that you're dealing with. Our highest number of students that we allow inside of a homeschool classroom, usually when we're not doing things online, is 5. But right now we are only allowing up to 3 inside of a classroom, because we feel that with the amount of work that we have to do behind the scenes, it's necessary to have smaller classrooms, and they get an individualized approach. So it's the only thing we really care about. Okay, well, good luck with everything. Call us if you have questions, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.